Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Wes Miller Show. I'm Luke Martin alongside the coach, Wes Miller. And, Coach, it's great to have you here with me, and not just today, but all season long. I think this is going to be a great platform to showcase all the great things happening with Spartan basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Luke, and it's good to be here, and appreciate all the support we have out there and the people that are interested in our program, and hope this gives people a nice glimpse into what we're doing and why we're doing it.
And no doubt it's going to be a lot of fun this season. And so far, Coach, we are 3 games into the season. We're about to go through each game here in just a moment. But overall, now that you kind of went through those 3 games, what's kind of the feeling right now of your team before we kind of go into some highlights?
Well, the feeling is we got to get better today. And then hopefully the feeling is we got to get better tomorrow, and so on and so forth. It's early in the year. And I think the teams that continue to progress every day, they continue to approach it that way, they'll be good in conference play, and that's what we're looking to do through this early stretch.
Well, let's go ahead and start with the highlights, and we begin with Greensboro College, which was the first game of the season in Fleming Gymnasium. And, Coach, early on in this game, it seemed like one of the main storylines was Clay Bird, and my goodness, he was just red hot from downtown for you guys.
Yeah, we need Clay to be a guy that's steady for us in lots of different ways this year. Certainly on the defensive end, we asked him to guard the ball and take some pressure off of Deontay, but everybody knows how he shoots the ball. We're going to need him to stretch it for us and make good decisions for us on the perimeter. When he makes a bunch of threes, though, Luke, that does help us a little bit.
And then give credit to the Pride. They were able to hang around early in this game as we go to the second half. And thanks to KL Locke, you guys were able to push away. What was the difference you felt in the second half and starting to get things rolling and eventually pull away?
Well, I just think we settled in a little bit. First time with people in the stands. I think we had some jitters, and I think we locked in a little more defensively. I wasn't pleased with our effort throughout the game on both ends of the floor, but we did put together a couple nice stretches there in the second half, and we were able to pull away.
And, we talked about Clay Bird a moment ago. Here he misses a three-pointer, but you really love this play with your reaction on the sideline, him diving for loose balls. You talk about effort with your team and sense of urgency, and right there really exemplifies that, what you guys want to do all game long.
Yeah, no question. Loose balls, 50-50 balls, deflections, effort plays. We got to be the team that plays harder than everybody else. I've been on Clay as a freshman and a sophomore for not making those plays. I was really fired up to see him make that play there tonight.
Once again, final score, Spartans went on the win, 86-69. And, Coach, overall, what were your final thoughts on the game against Greensboro?
Well, like I said, I wasn't pleased with our overall effort. I wasn't pleased with how focused we were on both ends of the floor. But we came back in practice the next day and started addressing those things, and we moved on.
And we moved on, indeed, to the second game of the season in the Greensboro Coliseum. It was UNCG and Chowan. Coach, it's always great to get started at the Coliseum. But early on, it was really the Hawks. They raced out to a 7-0 lead before you were able to call a timeout and talk to your guys. What was the message there after the beginning stretch of that game?
Well, like I said, we had 2 focused days of practice to try to improve on our performance against Greensboro College, and those first couple minutes, it didn't look like we had 2 focused days of practice. We weren't alert, we weren't ready to play, but we made a timeout. Guys adjusted, and I think we kind of righted the ship there pretty quick.
And you could see Clay Bird knocking down a big 3, and then Francis Alonzo shortly after a fast break here from Deontay Baldwin laying it in, extending the UNCG lead. But, Coach, one of the things you talked about after the game was having good old R.J. White back, and my goodness, he had himself a game against the Hawks.
Yeah, injuries have been a part of our preseason a little bit, and KL's been a little banged up. RJ's been a little banged up. Clay was a little banged up amongst some other guys. It was really good to have RJ back. We didn't have him that first game against Greensboro College. He's a presence for us around the basket. He's a guy we can play through on the block. He does have the ability to stretch it from 3. Point blank, he's a leader on this team, and we need him out there.
What did you like from RJ specifically in this game? And what you mentioned, it was really his first action of the season.
Well, he had barely practiced for 2 weeks. I mean, I think he practiced for about 45 minutes the day before, but he looked engaged. He looked ready to play. He looked like he had a little bit of rhythm, so I was pleased. I'll tell you what I liked was just him being out on the court. After not having him out there for a couple weeks, it was really nice to see him in a UNC uniform again.
As you can see, R.J. White here gets the and one to go, and, Coach, that ultimately was the difference in the game, being able to pull away from Chowan and get the final win in the Greensboro Coliseum, 81-60. As you were leaving the Coliseum that night, what were some of the final thoughts for you?
Yeah, we improved. I thought we improved from 2 days before that or 3 days before that when we played Greensboro College. A lot of the things that we had talked about in practice and in our film sessions. I saw the guys making efforts to do those things better. Certainly we have to get better. Certainly I wasn't pleased all the way around, but I saw improvement from the first game to the second game, and again, that's got to be the theme here early on.
And now we move on to the third game just over the weekend in Orlando, Florida, taking on the UCF Knights on the road, the first road game of the year. And Marvin Smith only had 7 points altogether against Chowan, coach, but he surpassed that in the first 5 minutes of the game, starting off with 2 huge three-pointers to give your team the early advantage. What was the key to the early success for Marvin?
Well, the best thing, you don't see it here, but the first possession of the game, he clanks one off the backboard. He doesn't even hit the rim. The next possession, he steps up with a lot of confidence, and I think that's what it's about. I mean, Marvin's a confident kid at his heart, but he's a confident kid because he's worked on his game. He spends as much time in the gym as anybody on our team, and I think when you have great work ethic, you have great confidence, and he was able to play with a lot of confidence early, especially with the way he shot the basketball, and that helped us get a nice little start offensively.
Pick it up later as you see Deontay Baldwin hanging in. You got a 6-point lead, and right now you got to be feeling pretty good about yourself, and then just some missed opportunities from downtown for your guys.
Yeah, it was an interesting game for us because of their size around the basket, and Deontay and Francis had a couple plays early on when they were able to get downhill and finish, but we really struggled to finish against their size. I mean, 7'6", they have 6'11" down there. They're the 7th biggest team in the country. I heard that going into the game, and they certainly affected us around the rim. I do think guys like Deontay and Francis made a nice adjustment to kind of pick their poison in the second half when they started to get downhill. But we did get a lot of quality looks, Luke, and we weren't able to convert as many as I would have liked us to.
You see Taco Fall there, one of the reasons why that UCF has that big size, 7'6", but here's Clay Bird knocking down his first three-pointer of the game to pull you guys back within one. But, Coach, what a way to end the half. Lloyd Burgess here taking what was a huge charge for your guys.
No question. And we work on this all the time. We have a drill in practice. We call it lane line drive, and we work on sliding over to take that drive in the middle of the lane. Big play for him. It was a game-winning play, and we were pretty tough on him a couple possessions before that and some timeouts about some things he didn't do. I love how he stepped back up with some toughness and made a big-time play to finish the half.
You guys were the ones that got off to a quick start in the first half, and then it was UCF starting with a 10-0 run. What was the difference there early on in the second half for UCF coming down and just making it seem shot after shot?
Well, Davis, I think he'd only taken a couple threes coming into the game, and so we had him as a guy that was a capable shooter but was a driver first and an offensive rebounder, an effort guy. Man, he makes 5 of them, and you see he made a couple there early in the second half. That hurt us a little bit. I thought we had good urgency coming out of halftime. We missed a couple easy baskets. They made a couple, but our guys didn't get down. They responded pretty well here after the first media timeout.
And you mentioned it, and we're seeing that run right now. Francis will lay this in to pull you guys back within 6. What'd you like from your team here, responding down 10 on the road, first time on the road, and didn't really waver the guys. They could have folded the tents, but they fight back and make it a ball game.
Well, I think you said it, just responding. Things didn't go our way. Again, I think we got quality looks. I think we had a couple okay defensive possessions. It didn't go our way, but we responded. We didn't put our heads down. We kept trying to do the little things right, and a couple things did go our way, and we find ourselves right back in the game.
And there's Marvin Smith again, 7 of the 9 points in that 9-0 run for your team, Coach. And then right here, Assad Lamont, a huge steal, and then runs it to the other end of the floor. Count it, and the foul as well. Another big emotional turn as you guys retook the lead.
Yeah, it starts with a deflection. And we work on the ball defense all the time, having active hands. We have not seen enough of that early on in the season with this team. I love that one of the biggest plays in the game for us was it started with active hands and a deflection on the ball, and that's a senior making a good play on the road.
And then Francis Alonso, another huge shot from downtown for you guys. Now up by 5 with 6:41 to go. And then we go to the 4-minute mark, tied at 51. And then almost a near steal there, Coach. And then just another big 3 by Davis. It just seemed that was the spark that UCF needed. What did you feel was the difference here in the closing stretch when the Knights kind of went on a roll?
Yeah, Luke, that was a big turning point in the game. We have a deflection, which we want, and we don't come up with the loose ball. We're not quite as urgent. They hit a big shot, and it's what happened at the end was what didn't happen at the beginning. They made a little run. We didn't respond. We stopped doing the little things, and we just got to learn how to win those tight games on the road, and that's the part of having some youngsters in some big-time roles. And then I need our old guys to show their experience and really lead us down the stretch. But we'll get better, and we showed that we can respond when things don't go our way early in the second half, and through some runs they had. We just got to be able to do that every time things don't go our way. And a couple big possessions they had late in the game really affected us moving forward, and we'll improve on that.
Do you feel, though, that you mentioned a lot of those positives there, that now that you've left that trip, you get to come back home for the holiday break here, and we'll talk about that tournament in a moment, but you feel that there are a lot of positives to build on for your team after the first 3 games?
There are. I think it hurt. I think it hurt everybody in the locker room that we knew we had an opportunity to win a big game on the road, that we were in position to win a big game on the road. So I think sometimes those moments are opportunities to learn and to teach. I think this team will take it that way. Again, every bounce isn't going to go your way. You saw we got a deflection. We had a chance to get a steal in a tie game. They end up hitting a big 3. But how you respond to it, you have control over that. And we didn't respond the way we wanted to in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game when things didn't go our way. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. I think this team will do a nice job in film. I think they'll do a nice job of trying to learn from that. And I think that we'll find ourselves in those situations all through the year. I think they'll do better and better as we go forward.
And as we move forward, the Spartan Showcase Tournament this weekend in Greensboro. We'll preview that later on the show. We've reached our first break. Coach gets a timeout. We're going to come with Clay Bird when we come back for our interview here on the Wes Miller Show, so don't go away.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Greensboro and Winston-Salem, it would be Jason Bramblett. He attracts hundreds of buyers and creates so much demand that Jason can guarantee if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, he will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
What makes a Subway footlong the biggest, bestest sandwich on earth? You do. Because it's all about choice. Your choice. Of freshly baked bread, tender meats, melty cheeses, savory sauces, and your favorite vibrant, colorful veggies. The handcrafted Subway footlong. Nothing bigger, nothing better. In the end, the wrapper may say Subway, but it's got your name all over it. Subway. Eat fresh.
Welcome back to the Wes Miller Show, presented by the UNCG Alumni Association. I'm Luke Martin, and now I promised you he'd be here. We are now in the presence of the Birdman. There's no other Birdman other than Clay Bird here at UNCG. Clay, appreciate the time, my friend. It's great to have you on the show, and what a start it's been for you so far this season and the guys. What's kind of the feeling in that locker room? I know the UCF's loss probably still stings a little bit, but overall, how you guys feeling about the start to the season?
We're feeling good. We started out 2-0, got two big wins, and then the loss against UCF was a heartbreaker. Losing felt like we were controlling the game until the last 5 minutes of the game, and just didn't have that little oomph to finish it off. But I think coming off of that, it's going to make us a lot better. We definitely learned a lot from that loss, and really learned how to finish the game. And so, it was discouraging to lose, but at the same time encouraging just with what we learned from it.
So much in the preseason and talking to you guys, you talked about this brotherhood and the family and how this team's committed to each other, and to where in years past where now that locker room really feels united. Now that you've had 3 games, understandably it's only 3 games, but has that bond only gotten stronger?
Oh, yeah. Every game, it gets stronger every game. After when we come into the locker room at the end of the game, we just got to regroup and figure out what we got to do for the next game. So, yeah, it definitely we build off of each game, win or lose. We're going to be together, and it's only going to get better. So.
For you, one of the plays we actually showed Coach Miller earlier in the show was against Greensboro College. You missed a 3-pointer, and what do? You just go flying out of nowhere, being like Superman coming in and knocking that ball out of bounds. Is that the difference, you think, from maybe in years past, or where all of a sudden that chip on your shoulder, which you've always had, but this year you really want to make a statement, not just shooting the basketball, but defensively and laying everything out on the line?
Definitely. That's most important to me, is defense comes first before shooting. I go in the game, your shot's going to be on some games, it's going to be off some games, but you can always play defense, you can always hustle and make plays like that. So going into the game, I'm not really focused on my shot. I'm going to shoot the ball, as best I can, whether I'm making them or missing them. I can always make plays like that. So going into the game, that's my mindset. I'm going to lay it out on the court defensively and make those hustle plays, and that's most important to me.
Now, one of the challenges, and Coach Miller just mentioned this a little while ago to me, but it's with this weekend having a tournament style to where you're going to have 3 games in 3 days, and not a lot of time to prepare necessarily for all of them that short amount of time, but it's more of just playing 3 games in 3 days. For you, what are you doing leading up to this weekend to try to get your body, to get yourself prepared physically for what will be a tournament-style setting that you guys hope to be doing later on come March?
Right. I think in the past I would try to conserve my energy leading up to it. But I've learned that doing that it puts me in a passive mode. So I'm going to go work this week harder than I have, in the past. So leading up to it, I'm just going into attack mode. And going into it, I'm not going to conserve anything. I'm just going to go play with abandonment from the start and not worry about holding back at all and worrying about, sure, we got 3 games in a row. It's going to be tiring on the body, but, you find a way. You find a way to find that bit of energy you need. So I'm just going to go out full speed from the start. So.
Now, Clay, before I let you go, it's obviously Thanksgiving time. Now, even though Christmas lights are already going up and Christmas music's being played like crazy, it is Thanksgiving. We have not reached Thanksgiving, but we will get to that point. For you, I know you have a big family, and I know you've probably had a lot of good Thanksgiving dinners. So for you, what is your favorite Thanksgiving meal? I don't know if we have enough time, but yeah. Favorite dish, favorite food you like to eat?
Oh, man. Love the turkey. Yeah, you gotta love the turkey. That's
can't go wrong with turkey.
That's
You can't go wrong with turkey at all.
Common denominator. Everybody has that. My mom, she makes, cream corn. I'm weak for that. I really am. And then green beans, sweet potato casserole, pineapple casserole. Oh man, the list could go on. But those are some of my favorites.
Those sound good, and of course, it's making me extremely hungry right here in the middle of the Coach Miller show. But Clay, we appreciate the time, and hopefully you'll be feasting on some defenses this weekend as well, getting appetite for some more 3-pointers. So, Clay, appreciate the time, buddy. Thank you. Once again, that was Clay Bird, and now you mentioned Clay talk about how his teammates know each other. They're a family. They're a bond. We're going to put that to the test here on the Wes Miller Show with a new segment. Take a look.
I can do push-ups all day, all night, 24/7, 365. Love them. Dang. Deontay?
That's Coach Miller.
Marvin.
Somebody lied. He's lying.
Donald's all-day breakfast, phony. No McGriddle, no big breakfast. Come on, son. KL.
I mean, how you gonna have all-day breakfast, no McGriddle, though? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, who goes to McDonald's to get anything else but a McGriddle or, like, a big breakfast or something? That's just stupid.
Grabbing as much popcorn in one hand and then stuffing it all in your mouth at once is definitely one of the best parts of going to a movie. That's RJ.
Jordy.
I just want to take a beautiful woman out on a lovely date. That was Mike. It had to be Mike.
Yep.
It had to be Mike. I knew it was. I remember seeing this tweet too, and I had some words for him afterwards.
Sitting at this wedding and can't stop thinking of scenes and lines from Wedding Crashers, one of my top 10 favorite movies. I say G. Garrett Collins. Is that him?
Jordy Kuiper. Gotta be Jordy.
Clay Bird.
Wes Miller. Wes Miller.
Oh, my goodness.
Coach has rejoined us here, and Coach, with the holiday break coming up and Thanksgiving, well, you guys don't get a break. You guys will be playing the Spartan Showcase tournament this weekend with a lot of quality opponents coming to Greensboro. When you kind of first glance at this tournament this weekend with Jacksonville, IPFW, and Navy, overall, what's kind of the synopsis of what challenges presents your team this weekend? I know there's going to be multiple, but what are some of the main ones that you see?
Yeah, well, the first challenge is, like you said, quality opponents. So we got to be prepared. And then you have quality opponents with very little time to prepare. Certainly we'll have all week to prepare for Navy on Friday, but then you're going to play 2 games against Jacksonville and IPFW with less than 24 hours to prepare and no practice time. So we got to be able to prepare in a short amount of time. That's very similar to what you do in conference tournament play, which is why we like these types of formats early in the year, because you get used to you get some experience to having that short turnaround with no time. Your body's not necessarily has time. Your body doesn't have time to recover, and then you got to be able to do your preparation on the fly. So I think that'll be good for our team come March. But that's the first challenge. The second challenge is the physical challenge of it. You know, we're a little thin. I think everybody knows that. We got guys that have to play heavy minutes for us to be successful. So how do we respond to playing 40 minutes on Friday night, 40 minutes on Saturday, and then 40 minutes again on Sunday afternoon? That'll be a big challenge. And certainly, you know, playing at home, Christmas break, students aren't in the stands. I think teams that don't worry about the things they can't control end up being successful. I'll be interested to see how we compete regardless of how full the stands are during Thanksgiving break.
And we're going to find out. We wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, but come out and support Coach Miller the Spartans this weekend at the Greensboro Coliseum. Well, that does it for the first episode of the Wes Miller Show. Coach, appreciate the time as always, and we'll chat next week.
Thanks, Lou.
Once again, that was Coach Miller. If you want to be part of the show, just use hashtag AskWes on Twitter, and your question may be answered by Coach Miller in future shows. So for the Coach Wes Miller, everybody in Spartan Athletics, we wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. But thanks for watching the Wes Miller Show. We'll talk to you next week.